What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Wildly Informed. Brett and Isha back with you to talk everything NHL, Minnesota Wild, analytics, and more. As we always do, check in with Isha. How's it going tonight, my friend?
Oh man, better than last night. Actually, you know what? For those who were part of the live stream last night, we're doing better than Michael. We're just gonna call him Michelle now. Brett, there was a guy who crashed the fuck out. And the vibes were low last night. I'll say I'm usually the glass half full kind of guy. I was even fed up with the Wild's performance and this game and us wasting our time watching it. Felt bad for a couple guys who were watching from the UK who stayed up till 3 a.m. and then had to go work in 3 hours after that to watch their team. But for the most part, we made light of the situation and just suffered together in the chat. But this one guy, man, and so I being, there nothing else to do as the Wild continued just to get absolutely destroyed. We all were poking the bear a little bit, and oh man, so doing better than Michael. I'll say that much.
Yeah, it's been a very up and down season. It's just weird. You look at this team, come out the gate to the 5-0 shutout. Power play looks electric. You're like, awesome. Everything is going to go great. And then they look terrible the next couple of games. They come out against Columbus. PP's electric again, but they give up 7. And then they come out, Monday night, play a really good game against the New York Rangers, who had been, as we talked last week, had been a team that was struggling to score, but was still driving play pretty well. But not only did they win that game, they outplayed them. They came out, and I thought for the first 5-6 minutes last night, had some really good looks. Looked like, okay, they're going to pick up where they left off. And then it was last night was almost kind of a microcosm of the whole season, where it was just there were some moments last night that were really good and then they were really bad. Ultimately ends up with a 4-1 loss, empty netter at the end of the game there, but just a weird start.
So funny. I had the same reaction. I think it was the first 3 to 5 minutes, and even the penalty kill, it wasn't bad. And I was like, okay, they're competing. But as soon as, and I'll give Urban in the chat credit, as soon as he was like, oh, they've got their legs under them now, the back-to-back, the young guys, it was the worst 9-minute stretch I've ever seen the Minnesota Wild play. And then the last 2 minutes, they had some momentum and shots went from 3 to 7, right? Just like that. Then the second period, horrendous. Third period, at least we have Boldy, and Yurov kind of looks like he fits in the NHL now. So those are kind of the only two takeaways. And then obviously, and I just feel like we're going to say this every week, that he didn't bail the Wild out here, but at least kept them in it. And that's Philip Gustafsson. My God, what another incredible performance in the Wild's worst game of the season by far, in my opinion. And we'll see if the analytics match that, Brett. But I think that was one of his best games. He was on fire. He was seeing shit that you were not supposed to see. He was seeing stuff through walls, I swear.
Yeah. The numbers were weird because it came out in the end, the Wild last night, according to Natural Stat Trick, given 4.18 expected goals to New Jersey's 2.78, which that kind of matches up from what I saw in the first 5 minutes. And I'm going to go double check. I think a lot of that may have actually come in the third period, which
they played better than in stretches the first and the entire second and the third.
Yeah, so they're actually 1.42 expected goal. That's only at 5-on-5 here. Hang on, let's go all situations here.
And look, maybe bias and frustration played into how we viewed the game as well. I will 100% admit to that. 1.8 expected goals in the second, 1.7 expected goals in the third period. So, I remember even just seeing a simple stat that was the scoring chances are there. They're just literally not even putting them on the net. So it's just man,
yeah, 19 and 12 in the second and third period last night. So if you look at the box score, it looks like a pretty even game, but it was just kind of these spurts. And if you even kind of look at the expected goals kind of throughout the game, you can even kind of see it on here, just the way it bounced back and forth between the teams. But I always try to take if you're the trailing team and you have a good third period, I sometimes take that a little bit of a grain of salt, just given, that the other team's probably defending, maybe pulling off the gas a little bit. And then obviously New Jersey gets the empty netter there. But like I will say this, my takeaway from last night is that game didn't feel like a loss in the way that some of the other ones have felt, where they didn't play maybe to the level that they could. There's a lot of line juggling too, so it's hard to figure out which line was going. Matt Boldy was one of them. And I'll talk a little bit about him in the analytics section, but we have a different player that we're focusing on. But did just want to give him a shout out because as I was pulling together that data, I did look at just Matt Boldy. His start to the year offensively for a team that's been starved has actually been quite good. I tweeted this out about an hour ago. Second on the Wild right now in expected goals at 5-on-5 with 57.7%. Really, really good. Only behind Rossi, who obviously has the one fewer game. So probably about the same there. But then across the entire NHL, so all forwards, defensemen, he's tied for 8th in goals with 5, tied for 12th in assists with 6, tied for 5th in points with 11, 2nd in shots with 33, 5th in individual expected goals with 4.5, 1st in shot attempts with 73, and tied for 3rd in high danger chances with 19. So like the offense is going through him right now. And as I have said and will continue to say, Matt Boldy is a superstar. And like, I don't think any of this is
and the steal of the league right now. If you look at his contract compared to,
it's looking pretty darn good. But like, and it doesn't fluke. It's not like he's had spike games. Like it's been night in, night out. Like if you look at like I track my PCS on a game by game basis, he has his worst game was against Philadelphia at 0.62. Every other game he's been 2.04 or higher. Like just been steady and like you know, so if he can continue that, I think that's going to be huge. And then if they can get Kaprizov going, we'll talk about in the analytics segment tonight, I think they'll be okay. But we will pass over some Wild talk here. We're going to get into our hockey headlines for this week. Not too much to get to, a pretty quiet week overall across the league. Couple notable things. The most notable probably coming out today, Mark Stone coming off a couple pretty big performances. Back to where he belongs.
I was just gonna say it wouldn't be an NHL season without Mark freaking Stone on LTIR, man.
Yeah, so that's at least 10 games that he'll be out after a significant wrist injury.
God, it's just like poor. Like I guess it's the way he plays too, though, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, if you're gonna play that defensively and that hard, like you're just gonna get banged up. But like, man, like when was it? I don't think he's ever played a full. No, he hasn't. He played 80 games once. Never got over 75 after that.
Yep, and he'll be at most this year 72. So
crazy.
Yeah,
dude,
so it sounds like
in Vancouver right now, people are calling for Philip Hedl to like retire because he keeps getting banged up and they're like head injuries and things like that, which is crazy.
Yeah. The one from Tom Wilson, I can't believe there wasn't anything on that, but what are you going to do there? So he's out at least 10 games. I believe the new LTIR rules would prevent Vegas from adding, and especially now this early in the season, it's just there's something they're going to have to deal with. A couple other injuries. Andrei Kopitar, week to week. He took a puck somewhere. I don't remember exactly where, but versus the Wild, so he's week to week. Caden Gooley, young defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens, were off to a really good start. Out 4 to 6 weeks, the lower body injury. Brady Tkachuk, who we talked about last week, did end up getting surgery, 6 to 8 week timeline on that, which means he's still likely to go, good to go for the Olympics, barring any further injury or setbacks.
Dude, Ottawa's going to be like, I know you can't fight at the Olympics, but like he's going to be ready for Olympics, go there, play like, let's be honest, it's going to be some tough hockey regardless. He's going to come back probably with a few more bumps and bruises.
Well, that's basically what happened to both the Tkachuks, if I remember right from last year.
Yeah.
From the Four Nations.
It's going to be a different style. I mean, they're not, unfortunately, in the IHF, you can't go full Four Nations.
Right.
Yeah, but like, I still think that there's going to be a couple fights and we're going to see some suspensions. Maybe not. I don't know what games, but like I just feel like with the NHL players back, it's just going to be on an elevated level. I don't think anybody's going to hold back. If anything, I think everyone's going to go a little overboard.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Olympics should be fun, and we'll definitely continue to cover that as we get closer to that. I did want to talk a little bit, 2 more things here before we move on. Signing, we're not going to spend too much time on it because I have no desire to give this guy more microphone time than he needs. Vegas signs Carter Hart, 2 years, $3.6 million. I don't care.
You can't even play till December 1st.
Yeah, shouldn't be in the league, but they had to release a whole statement saying in alignment with their values. And
I just love if it's like, don't even make a statement at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you have to
like,
make
you know it's not going to be positive, or those on like the extreme other side who just like want to be like, all right, this is my chance to come after these people here commenting, and then it's just a war in the comments, which is not a good look. And B, it's like you could have avoided all of this and just taken people tagging you, you know?
Yeah, I think a big piece. I think Aiden Hill might be still injured or did get injured, so they're looking for some insurance there. But
again, just December 1st.
Yeah, I never need more.
Insurance is supposed to be immediate, right, Brett? Like, insurance, like I have car insurance to cover me when I like go and drive, to Quick Trip tonight. I don't have car insurance. I can't go to Quick Trip right now, get in an accident, and expect a December 1st car.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but in case you need another reason just to cheer against Vegas, you have another one, which is always nice.
I have some friends in Vegas who I want to reach out to and be like, I haven't seen you comment on this. They're diehard fans. How do you feel about it?
Yeah. And then another kind of rumor floating around, Brennan Othman, who was the 16th overall pick by the Rangers in 2022. Kind of in a holding pattern with the Rangers right now, didn't make the roster out of camp, playing in the minors, but sounds like he might be getting some interest across the league. Nothing that I think the Wild are going to be in on by any means, but always interesting when you see first round picks, 2-3 years out from their draft year, starting to get moved around. But the Rangers kind of in a weird spot. They're playing okay hockey, but having a similar problem to the Wild where they just can't finish right now. But I think the situation there, and they have some older guys, and they have to kind of decide what to do with some of them as things progress here. So interesting to see kind of what
Elliot Friedman even tweeting about some possible interest in a Wild and Panarin trade.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not like he's going to sign another 14 mil or 11 mil plus contract. It's probably going to be a 2-3 year because he's 33. And then he'll probably like twilight year if he's still producing point per game-ish. That's where he'll just chase Stanley Cup. If, knock on wood, the Wild, haven't progressed by that point. It's a possibility depending what the Rangers are asking in return. Because like he's that good of a player where like the Rangers can ask for the sun, moon, stars, and it's like, well, the Wild have some prospects. Nothing too glimmering at the moment with Ogren just sent down, but there's definitely a possibility there. We'll see if they're possibly a dance partner, or if there's even conversations that arise from this. But I feel like if Elliot Friedman is even giving it any note, then like, I don't think it's just for clicks.
No, definitely not. And then one thing I didn't have kind of on our outline here that I did just want to talk about a little bit was Matthew Schaefer, the first overall pick by the Islanders in this year's NHL draft, defenseman, just off to like when you draft a first overall pick, like couldn't ask for a better start than what he's done so far. I'm trying to pull up his stats.
And he's just like, he just loves playing there.
Yeah, because I believe he's from Long Island too, right?
Yeah.
If memory serves.
I mean, man, since when was the last time we've had an Islanders player who's like just absolutely like outspoken about how much they love it there? Usually it's a few years after, we had a good group of guys and they have a good fan base and whatever, but this guy's like already just a star.
Yeah.
Instant star.
6 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 19 shots on goal, 47 attempts, 3 high danger chances. He's drawn 3 penalties, dished out 2 hits. Like, I think he's quarterbacking their top power play, and I think his numbers at 5-on-5 have actually been fine. He's about a 50% expected goal share, but I think that might be kind of a one bad game. I think most of them he's been 57, 40, 65, 35, 49, 51. So like he's been, I mean, to do that as an 18-year-old and to be like the guy is nuts. Like,
bro,
he's
the
basically
Islanders, they have their boy and their boy's in fucking Islanders pajamas, not Toronto pajamas, baby.
And it just sucks because Zeev Buium would probably have a legitimate chance at a Calder, but I think much like in the Bedard year for Brock Faber, I think we're going to be in the same boat. Like, unless Schaefer really, I mean, anything can happen. He can still hit the brakes and whatever. But I mean, he is basically doing what Buium is doing while playing a lot more minutes His ice time right now per game, 17, 26, 26, 17, 22, 22 at 18 years old. This is nuts. So shout out Matthew Schaefer, giving people a reason to watch the Islanders again.
Yeah. Travis, a fun question. Would Minnesota Wild be closer to a cup if the Wild moved to Houston and Minnesota got an expansion team in 2027?
No. No.
I mean, how good is Seattle doing right now? How good is Seattle doing?
Yeah. No. Yeah. With Vegas's rules, maybe. With Seattle's, no.
That's the thing. Vegas hit lightning in a bottle because they were the test subject and they got all the benefits. Seattle, not so much. Not so much.
And next expansion, I feel like could be more like a Minnesota Wild expansion, where if they're looking to potentially get this out to 34 teams, if they bring in 2 teams at once, they're going to have to really finagle those rules.
It's going to be slim.
I would think. Yeah, I would think.
Like they are going to get the absolute slop of the litter. All right, let's get to the analytics agenda here, keeping the Wild train going. And we're talking about the rich man himself, Kirill Kaprizov.
Yeah, it's been he's kind of the issues with the Wild, are very much all of them could kind of tie back to Kaprizov in a way. On the power play, he's been absolutely electric. Leads the league in power play ice time, tied for first in power play goals, has picked up 3 more assists, tied for third in points, leads the NHL in power play shots, second in attempts. You'd like to maybe see that high danger number a little bit more, but when you can score from where he can, the high danger chances maybe not as important. But where we really haven't seen that translate yet is into 5-on-5. So power play those stats among 239 forwards, 113 skaters with at least 20 minutes of power play time. 5-on-5 stats here. This is among 239 forwards with at least 75 minutes. He's the second most minutes in the NHL right now at 5-on-5 among all forwards, only behind Artemi Panarin. Goals, he doesn't have one yet. He has the empty netter in New York, which is his first even strength goal, not a 5-on-5 goal. Just 2 assists. That's tied for 204th for total points. Shots, he has 13. That's middle of the pack, tied 38th. Attempts, 29, tied 24th. And then high danger, he's got 8, tied 33rd. So, not necessarily a crater, but just not where you'd want a soon-to-be $17 million player. You would expect to probably see all this be top 20 to 15, if not even a little bit higher. For comparison, Boldy at 5-on-5, tied for 26th in goals, 19th in assists, 14th in points, 4th in shots, 1st in attempts, 2nd in high danger chances, and then 52nd in his expected goal share. But that 57.7%, much better than the 48.2% that Kaprizov's currently at. So I wouldn't say I'm worried or sounding alarms. We've seen Kaprizov be a little bit of a slow starter in past years. And after it feels like 10 games, he kind of figures it out. So, and the numbers here are glaringly bad. And I think it'll come, I think especially once Zuccarello can come back and they can maybe split up Kaprizov and Boldy, get him a couple different matchups. And I would imagine now, especially with this upcoming homestand, being able to match that line a little bit more versus what they were able to do where other teams were able to match against Kaprizov, get their best players out there. But it's notable. Just 2 points through 8 games at 5-on-5 from your best player. Not exactly where you'd want him to be, but still 9 points through, or might be 10 points through 8 games, which
it's notable. Just eye test too. He's getting shut down a lot. Mm-hmm. He's getting some shots on net. He's being forced to go and help retrieve the puck in the corners because other teams are just outplaying the Wild. And I mean, last night was so evident. The Devils were just so much faster. It was crazy. They were a level above in speed. I don't care if the Wild were buzzing
they played
into that
real
game.
Fast.
Still they weren't able to catch them. Mm-hmm. And though the Wild were playing physical, it wasn't in the right moments. It was hey, yeah, you're finishing your check in not in the most ideal situations. Not they're hurting the team, but it's you're finishing your check at that point to just show something where it's the puck is already halfway up the ice and you're the last 2 guys back.
Yeah, and I think
everything was just to play too late is I guess where I'm getting at. They weren't throwing checks to separate the guys from the puck. Mm-hmm. They were finishing their checks and playing physical to a certain degree, but at at one point they just couldn't even catch them, and it was like they were just forced to play harder in the corners to just do something to try to get this team off their game. And dude, New Jersey wasn't even phased at all.
No, they really weren't. And I think the other thing with Kaprizov too, and I think you can see it a little bit in just the numbers from Boldy, is I think maybe he's deferring a little bit too much. Like, obviously, love what Boldy's doing. I mean, I think the goal he scored last night where he picked off the puck, like, deked around a defender and then went, like, short side shelf. I mean, that was just absolutely nasty. But Kaprizov,
New Jersey getting in front of a lot of the passes and a lot of the shooting lanes last night too. So I was saying too last night throughout the game, like, yeah, we can show in the Wild this game, it's deserving, but like we have to give New Jersey credit too. Like they played, especially back to back, played an outstanding game.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, Jack Hughes was on fire as well, out deking everyone. Faber just absolutely dejected, and that's one thing. I don't know if you noticed this. There were shots. It was 17 minutes on the clock still, so we're 3 minutes into this game, and the bench didn't look fired up and serious. They look absolutely dejected, and I'm like, it's a 2-0 game at that point. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, like that Bruce Boudreau HBO speech comes to mind. You know,
yeah. Like it's not the end of the world here. But the other piece, I just think Kaprizov is like, we've seen it with Zuccarello at times too, where he maybe just tries to do a little bit too much, going a little bit east-west, maybe making that extra move when he doesn't
trying to split 3 guys when it's like, man, you already have 2 guys on you, because every team knows that now. Why are you trying to just dangle through and make one more play?
Right. And in the past, we've seen it with Boldy doing that sometimes too. But Boldy, I think the difference right now is Boldy, like evident by his league leading attempts, is he's just shooting it all the time. Like, get everything on net, like get in the zone, shoot the puck. And I think
create some rebounds too.
Yeah, like exactly. So I think like that's kind of what I'm watching for Kaprizov. I do wonder, they seem to find a little bit of something there late. I'm hoping it's not Hinostroza that sticks there. But they had, I think it was, the lines at the end of the last game were very weird, but it was like
Hinostroza, Foligno, and
no, it was Hinostroza with Kaprizov, and I can't remember if it was Eck or Rossi.
No, Kaprizov. Yeah, I remember that they only got like 2 shifts because they were double shifting Kaprizov, and he was playing with random. I will say this entire season, I know he's got 0 points, but like every time Hinostroza is out there, like he's doing his fucking job, man, and he's bringing that puck into the offensive zone, or he's in there fighting in the corner. Like he was the only player other than, I guess, Johansson, who was able to match the speed last night of the Devils. Like that was it. And it's like, okay, they weren't impactful. I get it. But like, at least, we're like very much picking at the small positives here, but at least he's doing what he's supposed to do. Whereas like Tyler Pitlick's line was not noticeable at all.
Yeah. I do wonder, though, we did see, so it wasn't a ton, but we saw 4 minutes and 43 seconds of Boldy, Rossi, Johansson. So when they were kind of moving stuff through, they had a 9-2 attempt advantage, 5-1 shot advantage, and racked up, almost half a goal expected within just those just over 4.5 minutes. Had 7 scoring chances, 6 high danger chances. Like those 3 were buzzing. So I do wonder maybe if we see that carry over. I think they had an off day today.
Yeah, and again, like Rossi looked okay too. Just like nothing was really going offensively. There's a few guys who like, and again, for me, that was the game where I was like, despite in a losing effort and a frustrating losing effort, that game showed me, okay, Yurov belongs in the NHL. He was physical. His IQ was there. He was parking himself in front of the net when needed. He was going for tips. There was a couple passes that went right over his stick, just like a bouncing puck. So in the first couple games that he played, I was like, okay, like I felt the same way as I did watching Hayton Ogren, and like, okay, there's a couple good shifts, but like you're getting overpowered. And I think that's just like NHL nerves. He looked, again, in a losing effort, so take it with a grain of salt, but he looked comfortable out there. Yeah, and
I thought in New York too, I thought he had a really nice game, bumped up in the lineup. Obviously ended up getting the game-winning goal. I think we were live on.
And that was a good goal. It wasn't like he had to battle for that. Like it was a smart hockey player goal. It wasn't
won the face-off, went to the net. Yep, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I think there hasn't. I wouldn't even say that wouldn't be like his breakout game. It was his first point, but Like, I think you just continue to see him seemingly to get more and more comfortable. I think the compete is way up. Like, I think he's competed a lot better.
That's a good point.
I think the face-offs are getting better. I think he still had some peaks and valleys, but it seems like he's maybe starting to figure some of that out.
Well, and the Wild all season have been really good in the face-off. Last night, they were pretty much 50-50 all night. And it's like, okay, that's also something. Like, even in a losing effort, it's like, okay, they've had possession. They just can't make a play or can't get a shot on net. It's like they didn't even have the opportunity to fuck up last night. It's like New Jersey, like, again, this is mostly eye test, but it just seemed like possession numbers, especially in the moments of the game where the Wild seemed the most ejected or like couldn't get a change, like the Devils kept it on them, were cycling well. And when the Wild were able to match that even a tiny little bit last night, they just did nothing with it.
Yeah. And like to your point about face-offs, you're off 3 for 8, but everybody else, Eriksson Ek 9 for 14, and Hartman and Rossi were each 9 out of 17.
Yeah. And usually we can bank on both of those guys.
So.
Yeah.
So like that looks like an area of improvement, and that's not even including Nico Sturm. The one thing I do wonder, like they have Pitlick up here right now. They have Yurov playing some center, which I get, but I do wonder, like Nico Sturm's not playing wing when he comes back. So I do wonder if at some point do we see Yurov maybe slid back to the wing? They seem to like him at center, but it would seem that either him or Hartman would be the one to go to the wing once Sturm comes back. But it seems like Sturm's probably your 3. He's definitely probably your 4C. So like if Yurov is sticking, is he your 3C? So I don't know, like that'll be the one thing that I'm really curious. I think we're still several weeks away from that happening, but I do wonder if maybe in the next week or two here, if Yurov continues to look good, if maybe it's, it's Ben Jones back in the lineup at center, maybe Pitlick out, and then you're sliding Yurov in at the wing somewhere. But I think there's a lot of encouraging things there. Like, and that's where I'm at right now with this team. Like there's the first couple losses felt shitty. Like you're seeing bad games from a lot of guys, but I think things feel to me like they're shifting and trending in a better direction. So I'm still not like sounding a panic alarm by any means.
I don't know. Last game was rough. For me, last game was the toughest to watch. I didn't, and maybe just because like
Washington was way worse. They got shit stomped in Washington.
I mean, I feel like, okay, here's my argument. If Gus wasn't, and again, Gus was good in Washington too, but Gus could have let in 5 goals last night. I wouldn't have even been upset, just like in Washington. Like, dude, how many shots? Like, it was almost 40 shots on net. I know, what was it, 45 in Washington? So, like, again, like, if the wheels would have fallen off a little bit and Gus just went like, fuck this, or like there were just a couple of those crazy backdoor plays that New Jersey just weren't even setting up anyways, that the Capitals got twice. Like, it could have been a shit stomping on the scorecard as well last night. Gus was outstanding in the second period. Like, and again, I'm not diminishing his performance in Washington as well. I'm just saying, like, he lets in 2 more goals, and I guarantee you're closer to saying it's the same than not.
Yeah, I think it was an okay game. And then the Washington game, they had 4.96 expected goals in that game, and Gus gave up 5. So he quite literally did his job in that game. And I think he had I think he was like 18 of 20 or something, I think, on high danger chances in that Washington game. So yeah, and like I'm not like a lot of people go, well, Gus is giving up all these goals, but it's like, dude, even if he gave up 2, they're still not winning these games. Like he is not the problem at all right now.
That Michael guy was saying that too in the chat, and like there was a few, I think like Urban, Trav were there. They were like, dude, Gustafsson is the only good thing about this team right now. And then Boldy scores and like, and Boldy. Yeah. Which, by the way, Boldy's goal, nasty. Oh, who scored the snipe goal off the faceoff for the Devils? Who was that?
Gritsyuk. Who was his first goal.
Dude, what a! I at that point I was like, bro, like the Wild are losing this game. That
should have been a trip though.
Sick. You know what? Okay, but the refs I will say the reffing was not the greatest. They gave the Wild, I think it was their first or second, I forget what it was, their first or second power play, but one of them was a gift. And yeah, so
but that's such like, to me, that's such an important part of the game. Like it's I think at that point it's a 2-0 game. You got a pretty clear and obvious penalty. That was the year.
I understand that, and I don't really like the refs getting even in games or correcting their mistakes, calling other stuff maybe or not calling stuff because they gave one. Like maybe in the playoffs they can do a little bit of that, but like I just don't like seeing that in the regular season. It's like if you fuck up, own it and just like continue to try to call the game the best you can, right?
Yeah. It felt like a really important swing in that game because Boldy very clearly got tripped. Like guy just kicked out his foot and tripped Boldy, and Boldy would have probably been able to get a stick or at least disrupt that shot. Instead, it beats Gus clean because there's nobody there. But what are you going to do? It's the way it goes. Rossi got away with a high stick later in the game. Not quite as impactful, but
yeah, let's talk about that. And this is why I say the refs weren't really on last night. They weren't the greatest because that if that wasn't a penalty, the whistle shouldn't have. Like the play shouldn't have been stopped.
It was a very weird.
It's funny that Rossi was complaining, and I saw like the bench be like, "Yo, shut the fuck up." At one point, the camera like went to them. So I think Faber went up to him, and was like, "Yo, get back to the bench," or like just get away from the ref because he was like arguing, like, "Why the hell did you call it, ball? Or why'd you stop the play, whatever?" Like we were in the offensive zone, we had some momentum. Like you could see him, and the commentators were talking about it too. They're like, "Yeah, Rossi's like pleading his case here to the ref, but like the ref may have just given him a gift, and then they're like pulling him away from the ref. Like, yo, you just got away with a high stick. Like, shut the fuck up."
Yeah, no kidding. So,
but even Boldy, I think, was asked about that, or maybe it was Boldy or Hines were asked about that after, and he was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was just weird because, like you said, the New Jersey had the puck when they blew the whistle, and then they like huddled up and just talked about it for like it was a good probably like 2 minutes, and then we're like, yeah,
dude, they snuck in a commercial.
They
snuck in the quick little like 3 commercial TV timeout. It was weird.
Yeah, it was interesting, but I have a lot more thoughts, so we'll get to Puck Your Opinions here now.
All right, Puck Your Opinions next, ladies and gentlemen.
I just want to say, Puck Your Opinion.
So we hit on some of this a little bit. Since we were talking about Gustafsson, I do want to jump into my kind of goalie take here, and I think this is less of an indictment on Gustafsson as it is kind of a hat tip to Jesper Wallstedt, but I think he's earned maybe more starts than I maybe thought he was going to get this year. Obviously, it's 2 games, small sample, but like to me, especially like early in the season when he's playing well, like in his 2 starts, I thought he said 1 bad period essentially out of his 5+ overtime. Like I think you kind of almost want to continue to get him in there, like keep that confidence, keep that groove going. So like end of the year, like maybe this is closer to like a 35-65 or like a 40-60 split. We'll see where things go, but I do think just his play has deserved a little bit more ice time or a couple extra maybe starts than we thought he was going to get. And I think, again, just to make sure that he's kind of staying fresh, keeping that confidence instead of, riding the bench for 5-7 games. Not saying that's what's going to happen, but I just wonder if that's something that the Wild are maybe going to look at here, especially on this homestand where they'll have kind of some, hopefully some games they can win.
I think they should definitely consider upping maybe the output of games that they start him in compared to maybe what they were projecting to do at the beginning of the season. Because they, again, small sample, but like it is a sample and it's a good sample. So, okay, let's continue. Let's continue to build off this. And oh man, I was saying this last night on the stream. If Gustafsson's going to have to take this much punishment in games, I know he's doing his job and he's doing his job amazingly well, but if he's going to have to make 40 saves every single game in losing goddamn efforts, he is not going to be fresh, even if they get their shit together in a few weeks and sneak their way into the playoffs. Like we've seen it, man. Like I am a diehard Canucks fan, and I believed that Luongo could play 70 fucking games. I know Gustafsson's not going to do it, but like 60, 70 games and still be fresh in the playoffs. It ain't happening, bro. It ain't happening.
No. Ask Jake Ottinger and Connor Hellebuck how that goes.
Yeah.
There was a comment in chat here from Schmitty that they think he'll play against the Sharks. I think that makes sense. 1, it's the Sharks, and 2, it's their second of a back-to-back over the weekend. So with Utah the night before, I would imagine Gus gets Utah, and then Wally's in there, but like wouldn't surprise me maybe to see him maybe again, like do maybe go depending on how Gus does against Winnipeg, maybe against Pittsburgh or Vancouver, one of those final 2 home games.
Yeah, I'm fine seeing more of them. I'm fine seeing more of them. Here's my Puck Your Opinion. If the Wild don't make a trade in the next month, okay, and the games still look like they're looking like, maybe squeezing out a point here and there in an overtime loss, winning against like the Sharks, but not against division teams. Are we talking about the seat being hot for John Hines. I give it a month if a trade's not made. I think obviously Zuccarello coming back and the Wild probably entertain a trade. Again, easier said than done. This isn't be a GM, but you got to imagine that he's on the phones. Like the GM, like they're talking to people right now. You have to imagine.
I don't think so.
I'm not saying the blockbuster trades, but you're seeing what offense
trades
is available.
for sure.
You're
trades
seeing
for
what,
sure.
Trade. So I always say you make a trade in the season, like especially with a newer coach. A trade is always the first move, even if it's a small trade, just to bring in just to shake up the roster a little bit and send any kind of message to wherever it's needed, and then it's coach, right? Because put it this way, if the coach is the first to go, that doesn't look good on a GM. So I'm thinking from a GM's perspective, like I'm not letting my guy go first, because that just shows the owner that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? So like you make moves to improve the team, wink wink nudge nudge owner, which like sometimes they are, sometimes they're just shake up deals. So but going back to my original thought, like I give it a month. If they don't make a trade and they're still playing mediocre, I think at that point, like Ezekiel brought up here, maybe it's a structure thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of going off. So I think they had Garrett in the booth. I think it was last night in New Jersey.
Oh, dude, it was hilarious because they were getting worked in their own zone. I'm like, yo, Garrett, get the fuck off the mic right now. Stop yapping.
Yeah. He poked fun at Nanny too, because I think they did score while Billy was in the booth. Yeah. And he made a jab at Lou Nanny, because I guess Nanny had a rep for kind of exploding in the press box in those situations, and he goes, "See how I kept my cool there, Louis?" So threw a little shade at him. But part of LaPanta was grilling him with some really good questions, kind of some tough questions to answer live on air. But he kind of asked him about like the team's performance and about Hines and stuff, and he kind of basically said, like, I don't really think this is a coaching issue right now. Like, to your point earlier, like they don't have Matt Zuccarello, they don't have Nico Sturm, and I think he understands the importance that those two bring to the lineup. So I think he's absolutely looking at trades. I think Russo on his latest podcast brought it up and just said, just the prices this early in the season are just so high that there's just really nothing doable right now outside of like, probably like depth guys, which is not what the Wild need. So
that's what I'm saying. You see what is out there now, because we still have a few more weeks until American Thanksgiving. And that's when it's always right after that is when like the shakeups happen.
Because that's kind of a benchmark. Like there's pretty high correlation with playoff teams at Thanksgiving and then come April. So I know Brody's made a good point here. And I'm saying like they don't waste their time on the bottom six, but like back to my original point, like you don't fire the coach until you make a trade first. And if you can't make that trade, then that's what I'm saying. My puck your opinion, I guess our version of hot take is if they're still losing, something has to give. And maybe for better, for worse at that point, you talk about Hines. Yeah. And I think like if things go as they are currently, maybe the seat's warm. If they go worse than they are currently, like if they're losing like 3 out of every 4, then I think for sure. Or at that point, if you're guaranteed your point to kind of save himself a little bit, your goal there is like you have to go make that splash. You might have to overpay. Like you might have to figure.
No, and like if they can't find scoring, even if like, and if it only improves a little bit with Zuccarello coming back, like at that point, like what fucking choice do you have? You have to do that. Like what? Like you have to score goals to win hockey games, and you can't rely on a power play, because then you'll run into teams like the New Jersey Devils, who have a sick penalty kill and made it look easy. Like the Wild ain't they don't have the Sedin twins on their team. Like the power play ain't just gonna work all the time.
Right. So yeah, we'll see. I think it's really early in the season. Like you look at the division, like Dallas is 3-3 right now. Like, do you think Dallas is gonna finish there? Like, I can talk. One of my other points here is kind of going out of order. Like, Winnipeg is currently second in the division. They're 5-1. They have a 34.4% expected goal share at 5-on-5. They cannot continue to win games when your 2/3 of the game is spent on 5-on-5 in the defensive zone. Like that will break Hellebuck at some point, which is exactly. I mean, this is going exactly how I thought it would. Like the Jets are they're not as deep as they used to be. The injuries that they have both up front and on the blue line, like, yes, they've won, but like they are such a candidate for negative regression. I think they're playing Seattle right now and actually outplaying them a little bit.
Yo,
but
Schmidt's acting like Bill Guerin's Jim Benning in the chat too.
Yeah. So like I do think they're due for a collapse. They've scored 6.5 more goals than expected at 5-on-5 and given up 2 fewer than expected. Like they're almost on like the exact flip side of the coin of the Wild. So like I could see easily the Wild climbing in the other direction. They have an expected goals at 5-on-5 of 15.78, so almost 16. They've only scored 9. So you're looking at about 6.5 goals fewer than expected at 5-on-5 right now. You add 6.5 goals across their 5 losses, like that probably makes a big difference in a lot of those games. So I think you're starting to see, like, I think Brock Faber's looked great the last 2 games. Him and Brodin seem like they've kind of figured things out after no camp. So that gives me optimism.
I like that he's fired up and he's pissed off. Like you can hear it in his, like, he's professional, but he's not like holding back in interviews between periods or after games. He is pissed. Shout out to the production and the cameraman in the last 2 games, just like, or in the last 2 losses, just zooming in on his face on the bench in the last 2 minutes, and he's just like that Brock Faber, like, kind of space cadet, but also like angry face, just staring away, just, oh my god. So he's trying.
Yeah, and he had a really good chance. There was a Kaprizov made a really good play in a back check, lifted up the stick, and then the Wild went back the way in a rush. I think they ended up with a 4-on-2, and they hit Faber coming in late, and I think he had a shot that was going to go, had a chance to maybe go top corner, and I think it just grazed off like the skate blade of the defenseman, right? And I think I also saw another tweet on just the Wild, like, due for some positive regression. I believe it was from Hockey Stat Cards. Shout out to them. They do a similar kind of style to some of my player cards, like with their game summaries. And I think it was like the Wild are like 3rd in the NHL right now in total posts and crossbars hit. They have like 14, I think. The leader, I think, was at like 16. So like you have to think some of those are eventually going to go in. So I don't know, I'm optimistic. Like I still believe this is a playoff team for sure. Maybe do I wonder if it's potentially as a wild card versus like a top 3 team? Maybe, but I do think things will turn around, especially once they get healthy. Like I think the difference that Nico Sturm and Matt Zuccarello will make are bigger, I think, than we realize right now. And like I'm still fully expecting a significant trade to happen at some point this season. Whether that's going to be, right now or closer to the trade deadline, I don't know. But I'm still optimistic about, like, I'm finding a lot more good out of games right now than I am of bad, I guess is kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Wow. We're looking at them through an opposite lens right now, but hopefully we can get on similar ground soon.
And then I had a conversation, and I think like this maybe will echo for you a little bit. I had a conversation today. I want to try to find who it was with. They had a really good way of kind of summarizing my thoughts. As we were talking about David Jiricek, Mitchell Rausch on X. And basically we're talking a little bit about David Jiricek, who we can talk about here in a minute, but basically was saying that like Jiricek maybe looks worse to the eye test in the analytics because every time he makes a mistake, it's like a legitimate scoring chance. And his point was when the team can't score, those mistakes, I think, feel even more magnified. So I think kind of what we're seeing is because the Wild aren't scoring, like every time there is a
That's a good point.
Every time there is a hiccup, it feels magnified where, some of these goals start going in, that little hiccup that maybe results in a 1 scoring chance. You're not even hardly blinking twice at it next time. Right. So
no, and I said that at the beginning of the show to come back full circle as well. And I said that on the broadcast last night that like the frustration of like just that everything you described there is like making this a terrible experience, a terrible game to watch, and kind of just that made it just a horrendous experience overall. It just overshadowed some of the numbers and finer details.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a really interesting case study going back to David Jiricek. Like I feel like even though Bogosian played decently well before his injury, like I do wonder if at this point if David Jiricek has potentially kind of played himself onto the third pair. I thought he's looked better and better. The one penalty last night, trying to make a play, ends up slashing. They score right after it. But again, I think there was maybe a missed call, when Boldy got tripped there. But has had above a 50% goal share in 4 of his 5 games. Philadelphia was his one dud, but 68% against St. Louis, 52, about 53% in New York. And then he was actually at 72% last night against the Devils, him and Middleton, spending a lot of time, was on the ice for the one Boldy goal and then 1 goal against as well. So
also let his frustration get the better of him too. Straight face fucking slash, knock the stick right out of their hand.
Yeah, so like there are still like some maturity moments like that. Like, right, that's a young player like taking out their frustration. Like, try not to take the page out of Ryan Hartman's book maybe next time, but
you can tell Hartsey like under his breath is like, attaboy. Attaboy,
like,
kid.
There's just little plays, and I keep going back to that Rangers game because there's a lot of good that came out of that game. But Z had posted kind of a clip on Twitter of the Wild like forecheck just being like an absolute like buzzsaw, like for like a whole shift. They I think they went through like a whole line change, and Jiricek was out there for this whole shift. It's like a 1.5 minute long clip, and you can kind of ISO him a little bit just from where the camera angle is, and that he plays kind of that right shot defense part. But there were several times where he would kind of join into the rush, make himself available for a pass, and then would fade back to the blue line. And then same thing, he would see another opportunity to jump in the play, he'd get in the play. And there was one kind of play that I think was a really makes you really excited for kind of what he could be, kind of a top 4 role. The Wild kind of had the puck in the low left corner. He kind of comes down, gets open for a pass, doesn't get it, doesn't turn his back to the play, throws his hips out, pivots back to the point, which allows him to see a puck get rung around the boards. He wins the race, protects the puck, defends himself from the defender, and then looks up, sees Vinny Hinostroza coming in the zone full speed, just throws like a little backhand area pass that Hinostroza skates right into, gets it toward the net for a scoring chance, and then 10 seconds later, I think, is when he had the shot toward the net that Hinostroza knocked into the net, but it was called for high sticking. And I think if we're gonna focus on all these little mistakes, like a slash last night, you have to call out some of these little plays too. You have to call out the good. And I think Russo had an article about Jiricek when he was in the press box, talking with Alex Goligoski, and I think it's easy to remember late career Alex Goligoski. He was kind of mid, but Alex Goligoski in his prime was a very, very good defenseman.
Top 4, top pairing guy even. Yeah.
Yeah. Who I think similar style, a bigger body, right shot, wants to be more offensive. That's a perfect mentor for him. And I think much like when we talked about Danila Yurov, who I think is also warranted, as we talked about, I think I'd maybe try moving him to the wing and just seeing if you can kind of spark something here with some of these other guys. But I just wonder kind of your thoughts. Do you think when and if Zach Bogosian comes back that Jiricek comes out of the lineup, or do you think that at that point, it's Bogosian to 70? I mean, it all very well could depend on how the team is doing too. I mean, if they're still losing and they need to change something up, maybe that's an obvious spot that they could do that.
Yeah, if they're still losing, then they're gonna put Bogosian back in, and he needs to start producing a little bit. Even it's some third assist there. I know the forwards have to do their part too, but I think if he still is pointless and the Wild are losing, then yeah, they're gonna shake it up.
Yeah. But I will say too, him and Middleton maybe seem to be building some chemistry there as well. I was critical of Middleton. His last couple of games have been better, good, not great, but better. So it's good to see some of these young guys kind of taking the opportunity. So we'll see, I think the 2 things I'm watching in the next 5-10 games, if Bogosian comes back, does Jiricek stay in the lineup? And then if the offense is still kind of struggling, do you throw Yurov on a wing somewhere? I don't know. That'll be interesting to kind of watch those 2 things. Let's see what else we got. I think we got one more here. I want to talk a little about Yakov Trenin, who I think
another guy with speed. I know I only mentioned 2 guys in the game that I saw were keeping up with the Devils. He was another one. Yeah, and
that was obviously a criticism when the Wild traded him, right? Was that he wasn't a great skater, but he's clearly put in, a lot of work. But I think not to say he's every night looked like the Wild's best forward by any means. But I feel like he has played well for his role. In the way that, like, I think there was a lot of like, hey, he played really well in the playoffs last year. We'd like to see that carry over. And I thought it has. Like, I think he has, like, I think right now he has 1 assist, only 1 point in the score sheet, but he's consistently, I think, been driving play, whether it's been a third line, fourth line. I believe he leads the NHL, either is like first or second in the NHL in hits. He hasn't taken a penalty. I don't know if he's been used. Is he being used in the penalty kill right now? I think a little bit. Let me check on that. But they're using him in a couple different situations, and I think he's just looked like he looks a lot more like the player that they signed than kind of just this useless bottom sixer that we saw for a good chunk of last season.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know it's tough right now, and especially like yesterday on stream, third period, and I was like trying to point out some of the good, and we were all just like, it doesn't matter because they're not scoring, and that's going to overshadow a lot of what Brett's pointing out, and a lot of just like, look, if I'm streaming and doing a play-by-play call of a game, like I'm going to call what I see, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And even if the game is ugly and they lose, like I'm still going to continue to keep talking about the little high points, even if they're few and far between. And I know some people were getting mad in the chat last night. Mostly the people who are crashing out, friggin' Michelle in particular, being like, it doesn't matter. Why are you even talking about this? You're just so you love getting booted from the first round. It's like, what does that have anything to do with me saying Yurov is looking like he's comfortable in the National Hockey League? And that's something that I noticed in this game, or like some of the little things that you just pointed out from Juracek as well. Like, that's what we're here for, guys, to to be the magnifying glass so you don't have to.
Yeah. So I think like it's encouraging that he's filling that role.
Do you think Vlad's washed, by the way? I know a lot. That's a lot of people are saying this as well.
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of weird because he's like Johansson with more offensive skill, but not the speed. So like, I don't know. Like he feels like a slightly upgraded Johansson, but
because I haven't seen either of them like be anchors to this team, other than like everybody else not score. Which again, Vlad, we kind of need him for that. But like again, I'll say this: I swear the Minnesota Wild fan base just have rage goggles looking at Johansson, because every game I want to see all the shit that you guys see, but I don't. It's like, and maybe like I actually look at him like an $800,000 player right now, and you guys see him as like a $6 million player, which he never was. I don't understand. Like, yeah, he's missing the net, just like Kaprizov, just like some of the big dogs. But like, I noticed him more last night, even getting involved than some of the big dogs, and I'm going to call that out.
Yeah, he, in my PCS metric, is 7th highest on the team. Him and Tarasenko are actually, I talk about them being pretty much the same player. Tarasenko, average 1.1, Johansson 0.8. But if you look at their median score, so if you that helps kind of remove some outliers, 0.85, 0.84.
Yeah,
so
I'm not celebrating this. Like, I don't want these guys to be on the team necessarily, but like, I'm not just going to be like, fuck them, they suck, when they're actually showing some more drive to win than some of these other guys. Let's be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and I think like Johansson.
Well, that's unfair, Schmitty. That's unfair then.
Johansson still doesn't look like...
You should be blaming, the coaching then.
Yeah, like he still doesn't look like a guy that needs to be in your top 6. Like I maintain with basically what we said all of last year is like he's a fine 3rd line winger or 4th line wing. Like his numbers have been fine, but he's still not really producing. He did have the really nice play on Danilo Yurov's first goal where he uses speed to get around the edge, get the wraparound that created the rebound that Yurov knocked in. So like there's been some flashes, and like I don't think I've looked and he's had a couple mistakes here and there, but like I don't think he's played horrible. Tarasenko, I think you just want to see some of like he's always pretty noticeable in the power play to me, like making plays off that left wall. But like at 5-on-5, when he kind of shifts over back to that right side, I feel like I'm not noticing enough. And it's just like, again, and I mean, and this is what I started talking about at the beginning of the season when we kind of saw those lines. Like, I just don't know how him and Joel Eriksson blend together on a line. I think we're seeing that a little bit. Like they don't play complementary hockey. Like they both play a good version, but it's just not compatible. So like, I wonder, is it a Tarasenko, Rossi, Kaprizov, and then it's Boldy, Eck, and Johansson or something like that. Maybe just seeing if getting another scoring winger for him creates some more opportunities.
Tony's calling us clowns. Tony, did you listen to the analytic breakdown section at all? Or are you just falling for the bait?
Also, Isha makes the thumbnails. I have no say in that. I just pick the topics.
What did I even say? What did I even write for the thumb? So Kirill Kaprizov can't score 5-on-5, Tony. What is false about that? Yeah. What is false about that?
No lies detected there.
Oh, Tony, I'm sorry. I think Tony's might be Michelle. Anyway.
Burner account.
Yeah. Love you, Tony. Second line, Foligno, Eck, Hartman to shut down. Third, Mojo Yurov, Senko.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll take any suggestions, and I think Hines will too at this point.
I still maintain that a Hartman, Foligno, Trenyan line should be effective, but especially the way Trenyan's playing right now. Oof, Rangers just lost to the Sharks in overtime. Couple hat tricks tonight, Macklin, Celebrini, and then Pride of U of M, Logan Cooley.
Tony, I encourage you to listen to the episode. Instead of jumping to conclusions.
Tony, Rich Man has played 8 games and hasn't scored a goal at 5-on-5. That was the gist of it, which is a fact. It's not.
And hey, Tony, you clicked in the live chat, so
thanks for being here. It worked. It did.
It's a good episode, and we're happy to have you part of the community, my man.
Yes.
Brett's like, God damn it. That was like, I've made way more, let's say, enticing thumbnails for Z to the point where he's like, yo, you got to take my face off these, dude. Ogren, Egg, Hartman for shutdown line with some offensive a punch. Yeah, and I mean, I'm until Zuccarello comes back, I'm down to see some more lines in the blender. We know that Boldy and Kaprizov works at least to produce something in a losing effort, but like if the only goal that's going to be scored in the game is Boldy and they're still going to lose, like let's try anything. Let's try anything at this point.
Yeah. So we'll see. I would imagine we'll see different lines for the next game would be my bet. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something more similar to how they ended last game, maybe with Tarasenko in the Hinostroza spot. But I just don't think they were thrilled with Tarasenko's game last night. So
it was tough to be excited about most of the guys' game last night. But anyways, Brett, what do you got coming up? I know you posted some player cards. You were busy coming back from the weekend off with some player cards. I'll share that in the chat here. But
yes, this weekend will be very similar. So I'll be out of town again this weekend. I'm actually headed out of town tomorrow. So Utah game will for sure be delayed. Sharks game, it's a 5:00 Sunday. I'll be back. We'll see if I get to cards or not. I'm just not sure. But again, trying to do them either night of or the day after when available. But they're all up there. The thread is pinned on my profile if you want to go back and look game by game right there, as each is showing on the screen. So
links in the chat too if you guys want to catch up on it. Okay, we'll get on to the last questions here. Yeah, exactly. Nothing to lose, and I think they will. I think Agreed. They will. Score predictions for the weekend back to back. Let's end the show with that. And Chad, if you want to jump into this as well, please do. We want to hear your guys' predictions as well.
I mean, they've played really well at home. I mean, it's only been 2 games, but
what happened to this team that played so well on the road? That's a Max Veach jumped in the chat last night. I was like, Max.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Columbus game, I don't know if we could say played well, but there was some bad luck. But it was a little more. The offense was at least scoring a little bit in that one. So I think Utah's close. I could see that one being like an overtime game, and I think the Wild get it done against the Sharks. I think Celebrini probably has like 2 points, but they probably win like 4-2. And then we'll go like, I don't know, we'll say 3-2 on Saturday.
God, I don't know why I'm just such a negative Nelly tonight. I'm so, like Brett. It's surprising me. And maybe it's because like the Canucks are absolute dog shit right now too. That I'm just like, God, the Olympics can't come fast enough. I'll say a 3-2 OT victory against the Mammoth, and I think 4-1 Shark. 4-3 Sharks. 4-3 Sharks. I think they leave one of the goalies in there, hung out to dry at one point in the game, but it's the Sharks. They end up coming back.
I hope they don't give up 5 and 4 in back-to-back games. That would not be good for the defense.
I hope not, but these are, again, I'm glass half fullish this week. Yeah. I'm still in my workout clothes, Brett. I didn't even shower before the show. Like, I'm just in that, you know what? I don't give a fuck today.
Yeah. I think one player they really need to see more. We haven't see more from. We haven't talked much about him, but I think it's Marcus Foligno. I think he set a fight, but the only real physical hit I can remember is him getting dropped in the game against the Rangers. The forechecking has been there. There was one game he looked really good. It was him and Hartman and somebody else that got moved to that line. They look good in that one, but he's the player I definitely want to see more of here, especially this weekend against San Jose and Utah were kind of smaller teams that I think he should be able to step up on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, for sure the Sharks, I mean, they got talent. They're going to be good in a few years, but Mammoth are sneaky good, though. Mammoth are sneaky good.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Arizona drafted, they got a bunch of big Russians coming through their system. So, they're going to be fun to watch in a couple of years.
Yeah, they're going to be a really good team. If you want more Mammoth coverage, tune into Judd's Butts. They do a whole segment on Utah every week. So.
Oh yeah. The book of Mammoth, and now Z's been obsessed with the big Russians for years now.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll talk about Cooley quite a bit next week with his hat trick tonight. So,
wait, have you boys ever heard of Grunhovers in Minnesota? No, explain quick. Explain, bro. Do you know every game I want to see my boy Revo fight?
Did you see him throw down with Rempe?
Yes,
tonight. And I think Rempe left the game injured. I don't know if it was from that or not.
I mean, kid's a psycho, but you love his heart. Once Revo's out of the league, it's then there'll be nobody else really. I mean, I guess
Delorier.
I was just gonna say, yeah, Delorier. Fuck, Tom Wilson doesn't really fight much anymore.
There's a Gudis. Is he a fighter?
But he's not good. That's the thing. Gudis is he's just a piece of shit.
Someone has a big defenseman that likes to throw down.
Gudis is one of those guys. If he was on my team, love him. But just like Alex Burrows. If Burrows was never on the Canucks, dude, what a rat, dude. And not a rat who is so good like Marchand, you can kind of forgive him a little bit. He's I don't know.
How about did you see his video tribute that he got from Boston?
Marchand? Oh yeah.
That was a pretty cool moment.
That was cool. LaPanta saying that hockey is such a cool culture. I was like, hockey, cool culture. I was like, what the fuck, LaPanta? This makes hockey a cool culture.
Yeah.
I immediately for anybody in the chat who knows this reference, I love you guys. Brett, I'll be impressed if you know this, but you probably won't. I commented, I was like, that's like saying the UFC is a cool or MMA is a cool culture because the UFC gave Michelle Waterson Gomez a video tribute. Nice gesture, very cool. Don't want to be the dick criticizing it, and I didn't until LaPanta had to comment on it, and I was like, yeah, thanks, thank you for that. And then what is it in the Buffalo game? Proceeded to rip the straps off Dahlian's helmet. Did you see that?
Yes, I think I did see
that.
My
my god, what a rat move.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, I will just share the clip on my Twitter at VI Sports Talk, but they get into Buffalo Panthers get into a little bit of a scuffle, and Dahlian's looking around, then suddenly notices his helmet's not around, and at that point it's too late as Marchand has it and he's sitting in the penalty box just ripping the freaking straps off it and throws it back on the ice.
I thought he ripped off the earpiece or ear guard or something.
He ripped it, dude. He ripped off everything that could be ripped off the helmet. He ripped off. Ooh, all right. No,
brother, listen to the episode. I literally said, I think he's playing well. He still has 10 points in 8 games. You would just like to see him get to the middle a little bit more and shoot the puck a little bit more at 5-on-5.
No, wait, Tony. Yeah, Tony, listen to the episode, then comment on it, man. Because you are not doing the what is this again, Brett? A podcast.
Yeah.
Audio breakdowns of Minnesota Wild. You're not doing it justice. If after you listen to it, you feel the same way, rip us to shred in the comments. We want to hear it because we will address it next week. And if I just don't know how you can good points and you can be Brett, everything you said in your analytical breakdown is wrong because of XYZ, and you guys are still clowns, then we will concede. But listen to the episode first, my man. Listen to the episode first.
I just think when you have a player, I agree, he is a top 5 player in the world, so he should have more than 2 5-on-5 points through 8 games. I think that's a reasonable take.
I just think the more Tony comments here and doesn't listen to it, you're playing right into you're playing right into it. It was not even a bad one. This is the least clickbaity, probably
yeah, that's right.
thumbnail on YouTube, I think.
He got us riled up too, so maybe hit his goals achieved.
No, and Tony's good shit, man. I love it. I love interacting with fellow fans because I feel like too much of the time it's just on Twitter. And it's like, no, we are here on the mic live wanting to talk to you guys. But listen to the episode. We even and you can even watch the episode because Brett brought up all like the numbers too. And whatever you disagree with, we want to hear it. And and we'll read it next week. We'll read it next week, Tony.
Yeah, and I'm pretty engaged on Twitter too, so never feel free to @ me. I always like good discourse on there. So
there you go.
Unless you're rude or bigoted or racist or hateful, then I block you. So because I don't need that on my feed. But other than
He'll scream at you first. Just scream at you first.
Yeah, I've kind of just stopped doing that at this point. Like I've decided it's not even worth my time anymore. So if like I see something that really ticks me off, I'm like, is it worth arguing? Yes or no? And then most time it's no, and then I just block. So
yeah. Oh, we are absolutely lucky to have him. We never said we weren't, my friend. We never said we weren't.
I get it.
Even in the title, I don't think we said we were unlucky to have Kirill Kaprizov.
No, I think you just said Richmond can't score, which is not fully false. But all right, well, that's all I got. So.
Hey, shout out to Pamela Yan. It's your birthday. I think that's a good note to end on here, guys.
Happy cake day.
There you go. We'll be back next week, probably Wednesday.
Let's see. What's the schedule?
Barring basically we're live Wednesday if there's no Wild games on Wednesday.
Yeah, there'll be a sandwich between Winnipeg and Pittsburgh, so we'll have 3 games to talk about. So Wednesday sounds good to me.
And I'll probably be live Tuesday covering the game. So
all right.
Check us out there. Hey, thank you so much, everybody who supports the channel, everybody in the comments. We appreciate you all. Smash that like button, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.
Later.